Next up, we're going to invite up Judge Robin Lewis to talk a little bit about our municipal court.
We were vertically challenged. Appreciate that. Thank you. Hi, I am Robin Lewis. I am the municipal judge here in Gardner, and I have been for a number of years. I will say that the courts and the staff and everyone strives to provide the citizens of this community the best service possible, in the sense that everyone deserves their day in court, to have their case appropriately heard, have the prosecutors review the case, make certain recommendations, have plenty of time to present their case to me, their side of what happens. When you're dealing with 300 people on any given docket, that makes it almost impossible to provide the quality of service that we intend and are used to providing. For instance, courts are supposed to start at 5 o'clock on these docket nights, but because we know, the prosecutors, the court staff, and myself know that they're so huge, we usually get there at 3 o'clock. The officers, when they even issue a citation, tell the person, if you want to go to court, it's first come, first serve, so you might want to get there early. And we do have people there at 3 o'clock. You can just imagine, though, if you were given a citation that said your court date and time, and your time was 5 o'clock, you would, in all reasonable person would assume, I should be out of there by 6. We have people still there at 8. And again, that's when we start at 3. And so we've been there the entire time. And it's a matter so that we can at least provide the best opportunity, but not have people sitting there for 5 hours, 3 hours. That's not fair. And when it says the congestion of the courtroom, or the not only the courtroom, but also the area, the foyer outside, we have family members sitting on the floor. We have people standing for hours. I have people that come, can't I be first in line? Thank you. Can't I be first in line because, you know, this person is so sick, they're coughing and hacking, or they have medical issues and they didn't expect to be there for 2.5 hours. And nor should you expect to be there that long. That's not how it was intended. That's not how it used to be. But because the city has grown, the police department has grown, as it should, because that is what we are about, is public safety. But as all departments interact with one another, it has a major impact. And here's where I get visual here. And that is, when you have the police department, they issue citations. And obviously, this is my little funnel here. And it used to be about like this, and then the court system, and it would be a nice little funnel, and we could transition really well. With over an 87% growth in citations in just 2 years, the funnel now is like this, but the court's still here. So you can see how problematic it has become. And you would think, well, just add additional court nights. Not possible. Simply because the court has to be at City Hall. You can't have a defendant go, well, one day you're going to be here at the community center, but the next day you're going to be at City Hall, and you have to have all your stuff in one place that's secure. And City Hall is used for other businesses. I mean, that is what it's designed for. So you can't just make it easy and say, well, just add another court day here, another court date there. We have tried to be pretty inventive. For instance, on some Friday mornings, I will come, the prosecutors don't have to, just on time to pay dockets, to have people come. And so we're trying to be a little inventive, but that hasn't changed significantly by any stretch of the imagination. We still have 300, one of our worst court nights was 387 people on the docket. Now that's people. Every person usually has more than one charge, so it does take a while. And again, you need to have the ability to listen to that person. That person's case is important to them, and it's important to me. I can't say, oh, you only have 2 seconds to tell me what your position is, because I have, I have 40 other people sitting here right now and another 200 waiting to talk to me. No, everybody deserves their day in court. Everybody deserves my full attention. Everybody deserves the ability for me to explain what's going on. That's what we're about. That's important. That's what the citizens of Gardner deserves. And in order to ever be able to do that, we need, because of the growth, and in a relatively, for my purposes, quick fashion it seemed, that is why we need this. And if you just think about it, even if it's approved in August, obviously it's not going to be up and running for another couple of years. So we are going to have to make some adjustments even then, because if it continues to do this, it's only going to get worse. And I don't have the arm span anymore to accommodate the influx with, thank you, Mayor, when we still have this. The other part of it is there are times when I have people, because we do have officers in court night, 2 of them, one with the prosecutors, one with me. I have people arrested in court. Either they have a warrant that's outstanding from another jurisdiction, or I had a warrant issued for them and it's like their 4th time, and I'm like, no, I'm not setting it aside. You're being arrested right now. Well, we don't have a holding cell. Where they go is back in the area where the clerk's office is, with all the clerks, with all the files, everyone. Not exactly a safe environment. The other part of it is that now the clerk's office is so, even though we're trying to do paperless and we're starting with that, we have all sorts of files that are no longer secure, in the sense of anybody and everybody gets to walk back there where the clerk's off if you have the little key fob. And not just clerks or I are the ones that have the little key fob. There's a safety issue as well. Gardner has grown, and I'm thrilled. The police department has grown, and I'm thrilled. And when I say grown as far as this, it's not just speeding tickets, although we do have a great traffic department now with the police department. They also, the increase in DUIs, driving while suspended, no proof of insurance. Is that making Gardner safe? Absolutely. Is that taking a lot more time with court? Absolutely. Plus, now we have a great officer, Zeus, who is a drug dog. So in just January of 2017, our drug charges increased by 1,400%. Again, these aren't just speeding tickets that you can just go in and out and see it by stop sign violations. I mean, we have significant offenses. My point is, I practice law. Being the judge of Gardner, although I enjoy greatly, is not my only job. I'm a solo practitioner. I'm a defense attorney. I practice in municipal courts throughout Johnson County and in other counties. Most jurisdictions top their cases at 120 a docket. They see that as the very maximum amount. Most of them think if they have 70 cases, that's way too many on any given docket. We have 300. 300. I used to get a lot of compliments about how well Gardner ran its court system. It was very efficient. You could get in, you could get out, you could get your case heard, you could actually, it went really well. Now I'm getting all sorts of complaints that they have to wait forever to get anything done because the dockets are so huge. And it is not fair. It is not fair. It is not fair to the citizens of this fine community that is what it has resulted. Safety, yes. Court system, it's not fair to have to wait that long. The other part of it is because we were trying to be as creative as possible and this is, with 300 and plus, this is even trying to limit our amount of people on a docket. We have been trying to limit that. We've now gone to where the officers, we have 3 court nights a month. 1 night a month is just so the officer's initial docket where they just write those tickets, not where I continue or the prosecutor continues or the clerks continue, in an effort to try and manage. And then the clerks and I and Everybody has, okay, you can only continue so many. I'm continuing them out to August the 9th, tonight. The officers write tickets 60 days out. That's not fair either, but that's the only way we can manage it and still even keep close to 300 people at docket. My point is that it has grown exponentially, and in order to provide the fine service that I believe that the courts need to do, it takes a long time, don't deny that, but it is not fair to the community. So, that's my presentation, and again, and it's not safe, is the other part of it is. Not only do we have the fire code issue for having so many people out there, you get people in that environment with small kids that have been waiting for 3 hours, are upset anyway because they're there and it's taken so long and they have to get picked, or maybe they have to pick their other kids up. It's not exactly a very happy environment. So there is a huge safety issue as well. And again, if you have somebody arrested, we don't have any place to put them, except back where the clerks are. So that is, if anybody has any question, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions anyone has. Yes, sir.
Question is, in the pamphlet here, it says that approximately 300 individuals attend court each session. What's a session? Is that a day? Or is there multiple sessions in a day?
One session. We have 3 sessions a month, and they are on different days.
Okay.
Does that answer the question, sir?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Where do the fines that are assessed to the people that are before you, where does that money go?
A good question, and it really depends on the charge. There are, some of it stays with Gardner. Some of the fines, actually, most of the fines themselves stay with Gardner. The court costs are split up at different places. Some of it goes to the state. I should say with the exception of seatbelt fines. A lot of that goes with the state, which, by the way, is increasing to $30 on January 1 from 10. July, sorry, not January, July 1. But most of the fines stay here in Gardner.
Do we know what that was in 2016?
I have not increased the fines from 2016 to 2017, if that what you... Oh, I do not know. I don't know. And I will tell you that I'm sure somebody does. I will tell you this. I don't see the municipal court as a income-generating facility.
That's not.
I know, and I'm just saying that's why I don't know. I have no clue.
That is the kind of information that we can get to you. If you want to leave your name with any of the senior, the city staff here, we can make sure we can try and get that question answered for you.
But, yeah, I have no clue, but thank you. You, sir.
And the new building will be more than one courtroom, and if so, are you going to expand to maybe more than one judge?
My idea would be to build, obviously, for the future, clearly. And I'm thinking, 20, 30 years out. So the bottom line is I think you need to build for 2 courtrooms. Because of the way this is growing, then at some point in time, I will just tell you that I do know, like, City of Olathe has 2 courtrooms. Not saying they use both of them all the time. I know, obviously, Overland Park has 2 courtrooms. I think if you're building that far in advance, then 2 courtrooms would be appropriate. Not saying mandatory, but would be appropriate. Again, building for the future instead of for today. I do think that, again, depending on how they grow, at some point in time, you will need 2 judges. I don't know when that will be, obviously, depending. Just to be very blunt with you, it's grown so fast, so quickly for me, it's probably going to be a lot sooner than I think. So at some point in time, I would say yes. Yes, ma'am.
So if there's a specified courtroom or 2, like you're talking about, would there be more court dates a month?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And that's what we're looking at now, is trying to do something a little differently and trying to think outside the box. The problem, again, right now is the only availability for court is the council chambers. But that's also the only availability for a lot of things, which is why we're meeting here and not in the council chambers, because I actually had to leave court. It's still going on, by the way. There's a lot of people waiting, I'm sure, that are not going to be happy by the time I get back, that why you have to meet here. It's just that I can't have a mobile courtroom. Any other questions? No? Thank you.